Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Phay, and welcome to the channel. So, why was the big cat disqualified from the race? Because he was a cheetah. Today, we're going to take a look at, well, the last of my top 30 games of 2025. Today, we're going to look at games number 10 through number 1. So, without further ado, let's get right to it. So, my number 10 is a retheming of a very popular game that's been out for a very long time, and it's got a nice science fiction theme, and that is Star Wars Battle of Hoth from Days of Wonder. Now, Star Wars Battle of Hoth is basically a remake of Memoir 44, which is a great Command and Colors game. And in this game, of course, one side's going to take control of the Imperials, the other side's going to take control of the Rebels. And there's about 17 scenarios in the book, and you're just going to basically be going through the different battles that happened on the planet Hoth from the Empire Strikes Back. Okay, you're going to have snow speeders, you're going to have some AT-ATs or AT-ATs, whichever one of you, however you prefer it. You got a lot of ground troopers as well, but it's basically just a reimagining of that just wonderful commands and colors system. And we all love Memoir 44, Star Wars Battle of Hoth, fantastic game, and that's my number 10. Number 9 on my list is a train game, but it's a different type of a train game. It's a bag building game, and it's one that I found very unique, very interesting, and just I thought it was amazing. And that is Lightning Train by Dire Wolf. Now, Lightning Train, like I said, it's a bag building game where basically what it is you have 8 different nations or areas across the United States. And in your bag, you're pulling different chits out of that bag, and the bag is going to have some of those chits are going to have like different locations of the map. And you need those locations to come out to be able to do different things in those. Like if you want to build tracks or build stations, deliver goods, you need to make sure that you are working inside of that area. At the same time, you have a nice little player board. You're trying to put your trains on different locations of your player board so you can actually do different things as well. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is you need to get your train all the way across the United States, try to build as many stations as possible, deliver as many goods as possible, and ultimately come up with the most points. Now, one of the cool things about this game that I really like is I do like where the chits that you're getting, okay, there is a track up on the top where when you pull them out of the bag and you're letting those down, okay, they can potentially move down the line and get cheaper and cheaper. There's some really good ones with the higher values, but if you can get them when they come down lower, it's just that much better for your bag, okay? The better you put stuff in your bag based on your long-term strategies, the better you're going to do in the end. Absolutely fantastic game. I love playing this one every time I can get it to the table. Very much enjoy it. That is my number 9, Lightning Train from Dire Wolf. So my number 8 is another train game because I absolutely love train games. I don't know why. I've just been playing them forever. But this is one, it's kind of very similar to a lot of the other ones out there, but has a little bit different mechanics to it that I actually enjoy very much. Okay. And this is Steam Power by Wallace Designs. Now, in Steam Power by Wallace Designs, basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to build basically the best train network that you can. You're only getting a couple actions every turn, and on those actions, you can either lay some track down, you can build some factories, fulfill some contracts, you can actually gain more contracts, you can earn some money. And the game is going to end when a certain number of contracts are fulfilled based on the number of players. All right. The components are just top notch. I do love the little cloth maps that they use in this one here. Very fun game, very easy game to learn how to play. But the strategy in this one, oh man, it's got some thought that needs to be involved in this one, and I absolutely love that one, or love that about this game. And that's my number 8, Steam Power from Wallace Designs. So number 7 on my list is a very unique style of game. It's a engine building, engine losing tabloid sort of game, but it's one of those games where basically you have a bunch of civilians in a colony and you're trying to keep them all alive. But however, as soon as one person loses all their civilians, then you see who has the most civilians and you are the winner. And that is Moon Colony Bloodbath. And oh my gosh, is this a fun game to play? It's one of these games where you have a board in front of you that's got 4 different actions that you can take, and simultaneously everyone's going to choose what action they want to take, and then you're going to work out those different actions. All right, you got cards that you're actually going to be putting down in your tableau. Those cards are going to actually add to your population for your civilians. But one of the things you're going to happen is, there's event cards and stuff that are going to come out, and it's just going to start just murdering your civilians. you're going to be losing them. You're going to be losing cards to try to replace the ones that you've lost. You're constantly trying to get more because you need to stay ahead of the civilian race. At the same time, you got to pay attention to what your opponents are doing, because if their civilians are starting to build up a little bit, then you got to see if you can actually do something to help drop them down. You got to make sure that you keep yours up. It's a really crazy, funny game. Every time I play this game, it is just a ton of laughs. It's kind of weird and morbid when you think about it. It's like, okay, well, we're losing civilians left and right, but whoever can have the most at the end wins the game. But you know what? That's number 7. That is Moon Colony Bloodbath, and that is by Rio Grande Games. Number 6 on my list is a retheming of an older game that's been around for a few years. But the nice thing about this one, it has a theme that I kind of prefer. And the original game was really, really good, but I just like this theme a little bit better, and that is Star Trek Captain's Chair. Now, Star Trek Captain's Chair by WizKids is a retheming of basically the the Imperium game. And Imperium has got several different decks out and a couple different expansions for it. But the nice thing about Captain's Chair is I do like the Star Trek theme in this one here. Now, basically what you're going to do is you're going to take control of one of the 6 different captains in this game, anywhere from, like, say, Jean-Luc Picard to Shayla, or what is it, Thylik Shran, I think it is. Okay, and there's a couple more in there as well. But every captain is going to have a very unique asymmetric deck. So they're all going to play a little bit different. All right. Now, you're trying to build up a little tableau of cards down on your board or your area, and you're going to be sending your ships out. You're going to have to go to different planets. You're going to have to try to get resources. You're going to probably have to try to make some alliances along the way. It's just a really fun game. Okay, you got to pay attention to your away teams. Okay, and you also got to make sure that you don't lose your ships, and you can keep your ships going back and forth, because you're definitely going to need those. Star Trek Captain's Chair is a very fun game. I enjoy this game as a multiplayer game. I also really enjoy this game as a solo game. It's just a whole lot of fun, a lot of strategies. No game ever plays the same, because there's just so many different cards, and every one of those cards are very unique, that depending on how those cards come out is totally going to depend on how your strategy and how your gameplay is going to be. Very fun. That's my number 6, Star Trek Captain's Chair from WizKids. Number 5 on this list is a retheming of another game system. And there's a lot of retheming going on, if you've noticed this. But it's a retheming of one of my favorite game systems. And this is Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship by Z-Man Games. Now, in Lord of the Rings, the Fate of the Fellowship, what you basically have to do is you need to get Frodo and Sam, and you got to get them to Mount Doom, and you got to throw the One Ring into Mount Doom. Now, the thing about this game is there's always going to be 4 different quests out. 4 or 3 different quests. Brain. But you always have the One Ring quest, which is the throwing of the ring into Mount Doom. Otherwise, you have your other quests that you have to try to complete, and you cannot complete your final quest until you complete the other quest first. Now, along the lines of this, you basically have all these different shadow troops, and these shadow troops are always moving around the board. They have little arrows that they're going to try to follow. Okay, so they have these little key pivot locations that you're going to have all these main battles that they're going to go into, and they're usually your different haven locations for one. So you have to kind of try to mitigate those, and you have to try to manage those. But at the same time, you're going to have the Nazgul. The Nazgul are going to be flying all over the place. They're constantly going to be getting in your way. Every time Sam and Frodo want to move, Nazgul, if they're in their area, you got to make these search checks, or you have to try to stay hidden. But then you also have the searching one eye. That eye is constantly coming after you. It's always looking to see where you're at. If it's in your area, bad stuff's going to usually happen. It is a brutal game. Now, I will say, this is one of the pandemic system games that I have probably won the least, but I have probably the most fun playing. I absolutely enjoy playing this game, but it is so hard and so tough. Now, I have played games that were super easy. If the cards come out and they're totally in your favor and you can just kind of march all the way across the world, you're doing a really good job. It makes it a little easier, and it's easier to win, but it doesn't happen that often. Okay, that's the exception for the most part. Now, one of the things about this game, and my only downfall really to this game, is I prefer this game more as a solo to 2-player game opposed to a 3 and 4, because I find with 3 and 4 players that whoever's controlling Sam and Frodo, okay, then the problem is by the time it gets back to them, well, the eye is almost always back in their area. But in a 2-player game, you can kind of mitigate that just a little bit more. In a 4-player game, you have to be doing battles all over the place to kind of keep that eye out of their location. But it's so much fun. Absolutely love it. The game just looks absolutely gorgeous on the table. So much fun to play. Very tough, very thematic. But that is my number 5, Lord of the Rings, Fate of the Fellowship by Z-Man Games. Number 4 on my list is a very unique cooperative game. Now, cooperative games are some of my favorite games to play. I always prefer to play cooperative over competitive any day of the week. And this one here is very unique in the way that, in the fact that you're everybody that's playing this game basically crash lands on a planet. You all have a card in front of you that kind of shows where your location is. But the thing is you can kind of talk to your the other people in your party because you have comms on, but you can't actually show them where you're at. And this is Vantage by Stonemaier Games. Now, Vantage by Stonemaier Games is basically this open world game. It's a non-campaign game, so every time you play, you're always going to start from the beginning. Okay, but it has these dice rolls that you're going to be rolling at the very beginning to figure out where you're going to start at, okay, in the game. And if you want, you can just say, you know what, I want to start at this one this time and just kind of keep checking off all the boxes until you start at all the different locations. Your choice. It's your game. Play it however you want to play it. But the cool thing about this game is when you're playing it, you have your little card and you figure out what you want to do. You're going to open up whatever book based on what ability and action you want to take. You can do that one ability and then you move on, okay? And you're constantly keep moving around. At the same time, you have your tableau in front of you. You got your character. You got all the cards that are going around you, but you're rolling dice, okay? And you're basically trying to use those dice so that all the bad's not happening to you, okay? So you can basically keep yourself alive for the most part, but you're using those dice to do the different actions that you can. Sometimes in a multiplayer game, the nice thing is sometimes the captain from the other team can actually take some of those dice from you. But it's a very cool, very unique game. I absolutely enjoy this every single time I play it. I play this multiplayer or even play it solo. It's fun both ways. But that is my number 4, Vantage from Stonemaier Games. Number 3 on this list is another deck building type game, but this one's a little bit different. This one's actually based off of the Aeon's End game, I believe it is, and that is Invincible, the card game by Indie Boards and Cards. Now, Invincible, the card game, basically what that is you're going to start off, everyone's going to pick their character. You're going to have a main boss that you're going to go after, and your character is going to have its starting deck. Now, in the deck, the cool thing about this game, when you're playing the game and you're playing your cards, when you discard your cards, you put them in your discard pile, but the thing is you never ever shuffle your discard pile. So the order that you put them in your discard pile actually really matters, because when it's time to draw another card and you can't, you take your discard pile and you just flip it over, and the order that it's in is now your current draw deck. So you can kind of work on trying to put some of those card combos together, which is actually really cool and really unique. But basically what you're doing is you're just trying to play your cards. You're trying to build up your deck the best that you can, and ultimately because you need to try to defeat the boss. Now, the main boss is going to win if one of your healths ever hits 0, or if they actually meet the win condition that happens to be on their villain card. Otherwise, if you can manage to take down the boss, then you as a team are actually going to win. It is really chaotic. It is really fun. I actually really enjoy this game. The theme is so strong in this one. I have a ton of fun playing it every time I play this one. Absolutely love it. That is my number 3, Invincible, the card game. Number 2 on my list is actually the third game in a series of games that are actually, every one of them are really high up on my all-time favorite games. I love them every time I get them to the table. They're so tense every time I play them. And this one is Nemesis Retaliation from Awakened Realms. Now, Nemesis Retaliation is the third in the series, like I said, and one of the things that it does is it actually really changes up the way the game plays. For the most part, the game plays the same, but it's mostly the map. Now, in this case, we now have a new map that's going to be modular, so it's going to be changing every single time you play it. You never know what the map's going to look like, which is actually really cool. They've reworked the health system in this one, so that's going to be playing out a whole lot different as well. They also have just some new character actions you're going to be able to do. You can now try to mitigate some of the noise by flipping over some of the hallways so you can get to the 0 side, so you'll never have to roll the number and you never have to get noise in some areas. Just really good and really fun. The other thing I really like about this one too is now the monsters, the way they're moving now is they're actually going from hallway to room to hallway and around, but they're easier to kill when they're in a hallway, because now you can just start throwing burst fires down that hallway and really start taking them out. When they're in the rooms, they're really hard to take out. So you kind of want to try to get them pinned down to those hallways, take them out right there, try to keep them mitigated, but at the same time, you need to try to complete your objectives. Now, this game can either be played solo, it can be played cooperative, it can be played as a competitive game where there can even be a hidden traitor in this game. It is so much fun to play. Every single time I get this game to the table, I absolutely love it. It's really tense every time. If you don't keep those creatures in check, they're just going to come along and they are just going to destroy you. So much fun. I can never recommend this game enough, but this is my number 2, Nemesis Retaliation from Awakened Realms. All right, folks, here we are. We finally made it to my number 1. Have you guessed what it is yet? Most of you probably already have if you know me and you know the kind of games I like. Okay. But my number one is, again, a cooperative game. Love my cooperative games. All right. But it's a tabletop adventure game. And every time you play this, every adventure you play is going to be set over the course of 3 different gameplay sessions. All right. And this is The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era by Chip Theory Games. Now, Betrayal of the Second Era, okay, in Elder Scrolls, what you're doing is you're actually creating a character, and there's so many different ways you can combo this character, and you can create them by adding to its skills and whatnot. All right, but you got this world map. You're going over the world map. You're trying to do different missions on that. Ultimately, what you're trying to do is you're trying to complete whatever the final goal is that you have for that particular adventure. All right, you're going to be gaining experience points. Those experience points are going to allow you to be able to upgrade your skills and everything else you can. The components in this game are top notch. As always, Chip Theory Games does a phenomenal job of putting their games together. The theme of this one is also so strong, and it is so much fun. Now, it is a longer game. It's going to take a couple hours to play this game, plus I think something like a half hour or so per player. And I think that's kind of what they say. And like I said, every adventure is going to be done over a series of, I believe it's 3 different game sessions, okay, to finally get to that overall ending. But this game is so much fun. Every time I get this thing to the table, I absolutely love playing it. It is really challenging. You really got to think about where you want to go on the maps, what you want to do, and how you're going to be able to accomplish your goals based on the different stuff that's being thrown at you. My number one, oh, I cannot recommend this game enough. It is absolutely fantastic, but that is The Elder Scrolls Betrayal of the Second Era by Chip Theory Games. All right, folks, there you go. That was my top 30 games of all time. And in this particular list right here, this was my number 10 to my number 1. Okay, how did this meet up to your top 10 games of 2025? Now, I'll tell you right now, I know there's a lot of games that I have read that are and saw that are really good games that are not on my list. But the reason is there's a lot of games I haven't played. It's either Cody from the Discriminating Gamer hasn't gotten those in for review, or I just haven't been able to afford to go buy them, so I haven't been able to play them. I know there's a lot of games from 2025 that are out there that I still want to play and eventually going to play. But hey, you tell me, what are your top 10 games of 2025? Leave those down in the comments below, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. Well, thank you once again for joining me today. As always, I please ask you to like this video on YouTube, Board Game Geek, Facebook, or even on X. Please leave me a comment on any one of those platforms, and I'll get to those comments just as soon as I can. And also, folks, if you like the videos that I do here, if you haven't done so already, I humbly ask you to click on the subscription button and even click on the bell to be notified when I drop new videos. And also, if you like the videos I do here, I also post videos over on the Discriminating Gamers channel. Over there, we'll do some unboxing, some reviews, and playthroughs. I'll leave a link to Cody's channel down in the details below. So did you know that dogs cannot operate MRI machines, but cats can?